What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here with another match preview. It feels like take two, another match preview for Spurs against Fulham, seeing as
Are you
that...
sure it's Fulham? Let me just double check.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
We're playing Fulham.
Aston Villa game has been postponed, as it's widely been reported, and we're back playing Fulham tomorrow night at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The game that was called off just before New Year's Eve. So, yeah, back at it again.
We'll probably walk out of the stadium. We'll probably be like Man City coming out when we walk out instead. You never know this Premier League season who you're going to turn up against. But
It's very, very true.
Yeah, it's look, it's been a bit of a mess. Fulham actually haven't played since in the Premier League since we were actually scheduled to play them. So in terms of their form and everything, it's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Spurs have only played one game, but in terms of just the dynamic of the game, it's just a slightly bit different because it's a bit delayed. But yeah, we are playing Fulham now, not Aston Villa, which we were up until 48 hours ago. We were scheduled to play Aston Villa, so I think it's probably better for us in a way. Probably we're playing Fulham now. But it does screw us over in terms of later in the season when we have a 4-game week, which is pretty much guaranteed now. We're going to have to play Villa there instead of Fulham.
Unless we go out the FA Cup.
Unless we do go out the FA Cup, maybe to Everton or whatever. We'll have to, because I don't think we're going to go out to Wickham. But
well, we nearly did a few years back.
That's true. Yeah, we kind of just scraped through. But Fulham actually Fulham's still on that 4-game unbeaten run we were talking about a couple weeks ago.
We can basically just put in the match preview that we did a few weeks ago and just let you watch that again. But,
different.
you know, because we love you so much, we thought we'd bring you some fresh content, you know what I mean? So, look, when you look at it, Fulham, their last 4 games, they've drawn their last 4 games against Liverpool at home, Brighton at home, Newcastle away, Southampton at home. You know, they've had good results this season against Leicester, obviously, and that was sandwiched in between 2 losses against West Ham and Man City. So when you look at their early season form, you would say they were a shoo-in to go down, but now probably not so sure.
Yeah, well, they're currently 3 points behind Brighton in 17th with 2 games in hand, so they have a chance to climb out of the drop zone if if they get a win. Well, if they get a win, they'll be level on goal difference, probably just behind. But if they get points in their 2 games in hand, they do have a chance to climb out the drop zone, which wasn't really in sight near the beginning of the season. So their fortunes have changed. There definitely has been results maybe aren't amazing right now, but results are definitely better than they were earlier in the season, and especially definitely performances. You got to say that they're performing to a lot higher standard than they were earlier in the season. They're very much competitive in games now, rather than getting battered like they were week in, week out in the early weeks. And especially you saw that game against Liverpool.
They could have got more out of that.
They really should have won that game. It was a really poor penalty they gave away late in the game from a free kick. The guy put his hand up in the wall. Really dumb for a penalty to give away. And apart from that, they were pretty comfortable. So look, they're no mugs for them, but we have to see this as a very big opportunity to build some momentum going into. We got Liverpool in a couple games' time. We need to be going into that game with 3 wins out of 3 out of Leeds, Fulham, and Sheffield United. Yeah. We really have to. We can't afford to be dropping points because it's so tight at the top. We actually have an opportunity here to build some points up because we've got a game in hand on Liverpool, don't we? Who don't play this week, midweek, right?
Correct.
Liverpool. So
this is our game in hand.
This is our game in hand. So if we beat them, we're 1 point behind. And I know Man United play Burnley tonight. You never know what's going to happen in that game. They're probably going to win. But if they don't, then it really is even more important that we beat Fulham tomorrow. So it's a good opportunity for us, I feel, to really get some points on the board. Because even though we've played 16 games, we still have 2 of the bottom 3 to play. Yeah. Which is a bit of a false image then, because most of the teams have played them. So
look, it says it all when our next 4 Premier League games are Fulham at home, Sheffield United away, Liverpool at home, and Brighton away. So out of those 4 fixtures, you would say 3 of them, you expect 9 points out of at least 3 of those games.
Yeah, you would say so. And even Liverpool at home, their away form's been so poor. So you not expect a point, but you're hoping. You're definitely hopeful, optimistic about getting a point.
I'm optimistic out of 3 points in that game. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm optimistic of definitely getting something. I wouldn't say...
I said I go into that game confident.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't take a draw before the game. Yeah. But I think, as in a draw wouldn't be a bad result, but I wouldn't take it before the game. So Mourinho, before the game, in his press conference just now, he was asked, is it unfair on Fulham to be, he said, is it unfair on Fulham to have been asked to play 48 hours notice? And his response is, are you serious? Our game was cancelled 2 hours before kickoff last time. So this he said the worst outcome for this game would have been of all the Villa games be another postponement and more games being delayed to later this season. So he said this game being rearranged for now has to be seen in the circumstances as a positive. And yeah, I agree.
Quite right, man. Quite right. You know, this whole thing about cancelling games, it's getting beyond a joke now. Like I keep saying, like the Premier League have made a right decision for once this week in kind of rescheduling this Fulham game so that we're not having 4-game weeks going into the season. And, you know, even though we are going to have a 4-game week, this is the correct decision to make. And yeah, it's going to be a tiny bit unfair on Fulham, but no one's talking about how unfair it was on us to cancel the game 48 hours or whatever it was, a few hours before the game.
And they talk about a lack of communication but for Fulham, who should have known last week there was a possibility they were going to play midweek, which is fair. But apparently Fulham failed completely to communicate with Spurs about the cancellation of the game. Apparently they were talking directly with the Premier League. There was no contact with Tottenham whether the game was going to be cancelled. And obviously 2 hours before the game, we know what happened. The game was obviously called off at a very, very short notice. And that didn't help us at all. And that wasn't fair on Spurs. So I know the situation kind of sucks at the moment. It sucks for everyone, and especially with Fulham, who probably went into the FA Cup tie on the weekend. I can't remember who they played, but they won in extra time. I think it was QPR, wasn't it? Yeah. So they went into that game thinking they weren't playing midweek, so maybe they played a stronger team than they would have if they knew. But it is what it is. This season's crazy, and I think Fulham playing with 48 hours notice isn't the biggest injustice that's been this season. There's probably been a lot worse. I think us playing 4-game week is a lot more unfair than that.
Look, it's 2 days in advance. Like, come on, guys. Like, yeah, we're going through a very hard time at the moment, a very hard season, something that's completely unprecedented. And we get told we can't play 2 hours before kickoff. Bad communication from Fulham on that day. But they're having a go at us, or they're having a go at the Premier League for putting a game on 2 days before the game. Like,
I think the biggest gripe,
it's a bit of nonsense to me.
I think the biggest gripe is just the lack of communication, which I think is fair. I think if the Premier League knew was a possibility last week, they shouldn't let Fulham know, because then they could have planned for it or thought about the possibility. If it's true they only found out on Monday, that's not great.
But why are they only finding out? The whole of the Spurs fan base, the whole of the Premier League fan base knew it was a possibility. Even we were talking about it. So how would they not know?
Yeah, they should have known. I refuse to believe that they had that absolutely zero awareness of the possibility of playing midweek. It doesn't make any sense. They're a multi-million-pound Premier League team with loads of resources for figuring out outcomes. And how
it was common knowledge, man.
It was common knowledge. It was a suggestion, but it wasn't really something seriously considered until the weekend, I think.
Well, you knew Villa had very, very bad cases of COVID. You saw the team that they put out on the weekend in the FA Cup. So it was always going to be a slight possibility.
Yeah.
And even if it's a slight possibility, you've got to have that in your thinking and you've got to plan for that.
I agree with you. So it's hard to have too much sympathy for what Fulham are going through. I know they're near the bottom and they're challenging. Every point matters for them, but it is what it is at the moment. We have to go ahead with this schedule, and yeah. But going forward to the game, I'm really looking forward to this one, because another home tie. Our home form's been pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what kind of lineup Mourinho puts out. Obviously, check out our predicted lineup to see that. But I feel like we're going to go quite offensive. I don't think we're going to play Sissoko and Højbjerg
I think Winksy starts this one.
Yeah, I think we're going to go for a more offensive approach. We need to go get all the 3 points, and if we do that, it puts us a point behind Liverpool. Which really makes the table really good.
Yeah, no, it really does. I mean, like I said before, we should be picking up at least a minimum of 9 points out of our next 4 Premier League games, at the absolute minimum. So if we do that, then that will really put us in good stead moving into the season. We'll be really catapulted right up there, maybe even level top of the league with Man United, Liverpool. Yeah. So look, it's a really good opportunity for us now going into the season. Back on Fulham for a second. Scott Parker, obviously ex-Tottenham man, their manager. How do you feel he's coming on as a manager right now?
What was that video that went viral of him? That was absolutely brilliant. When he after a match interview, they put it to some music. I can't remember what music they put it to. It's just the best video I've ever seen.
Was it The Streets?
That's it, The Streets.
Dry your eyes, mate.
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. You have to go check that out. That's probably his biggest achievement this season, to be honest. But I think he did a great job last year, didn't he? Getting them back into the Premier League at the first time of asking. So you got to praise him for that. He was at Spurs, wasn't he, on the coaching staff?
Yeah, he was coaching. Yeah, exactly.
Before he moved to Fulham, before he got that opportunity. So I hope he does well. I hope Fulham stay up because I like them as a club. I always like going to Craven Cottage. It's a really nice ground to go to. But he has had a tough time with it this season. But it would have been very easy for Fulham to have sacked him very early on and try and get a new manager in and someone with more experience. But they stuck with it, and things do seem to slightly be improving, albeit they have only won 2 games.
I think massively improving. When you look at it, they're like first 10 games of the season or whatever, or maybe a bit less. Nobody gave Fulham a chance. Everyone was like, Fulham going back down, Fulham going back down, Fulham going back down. And now when you're looking at them, they're not a shoo-in for the drop at all anymore. And you would say you might fancy them to stay up now.
Yeah, but they're still... I would say performances have definitely improved. They're a lot more competitive in games, but they still have only won 2 and 15. You know what I mean? So,
but that's always expected for a team that have just come up from the Championship. I know Leeds might be a bit of a different case, but when you look at West Brom, look at Fulham, you would say Fulham. You'd much rather Fulham to stay up than West Brom.
Oh, that's definitely for sure. West Brom look absolutely shocking at the moment. Maybe Robert Snodgrass can keep them up, but I'm not 100% sure about that one. But look, I think it's very important we turn up for this game. We don't let it pass us by. We see this as an opportunity to get the 3 points on the board. It's an opportunity we probably weren't going to, didn't think we were going to get 48 hours ago, but now it's here and we have to take it with both hands. And we've missed too many opportunities this season. We can't let another one pass us by. So Harry Kane and Heung-min-son should be fit and firing for this one. Fresh, a week a rest for them, and a few of our other senior players as well. So they should have no excuses but to be absolutely on their game for this one. So it has to be a Spurs win. I'm thinking a few goals as well, and I'm confident we can keep a clean sheet in this one.
In terms of the kind of matchups on the pitch, who have you been impressed with in Fulham, and where do you see the kind of key matchups on the pitch?
One player I'm really been impressed with is Anguissa. Anguissa, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, but he's been really impressive in the central midfield. He's actually been one of their standout players in central midfield. He's one of those players, a bit like Idrissa Gueye, where even though when Villa went down, he was like starting every week when Villa went down in the Premier League. You could see he was like Premier League quality, and he got that big move to Everton and obviously went on to move to PSG because people could see the quality he has even though they went down. I can see that in Anguissa. I think he's one of those players where,
would you take him?
If we don't get someone like Bissouma, who I really believe is very good, and I'll definitely take him next to Højbjerg. If we don't, he could be like a B or C option, I think, if need be. So he's one I really like the look of. I think Anthony Robertson at left back, he's been playing a few of the games recently. The guy who failed to get a move to Milan a few years ago.
A bit like our left back.
Yeah, kind of. He's been quite good. Areola had a shaky start, but he's really settled down now, and he's playing really well. And I would have said Mitrovic, but he actually hasn't been too involved recently. He doesn't start too many games.
It seems as though Fulham's kind of, I want to say good form, but better form, let's say. Fulham's better form has coincided with Mitrovic being out the team.
Yeah, I think it's to do with just a different kind of approach to games, because I felt like when they had Mitrovic on the pitch, they were just very tempted to lump it forward to him all the time, and you could see that, and it kind of was just a one route of attack, and it was very easy to snuff out once you knew what was going on. I can't remember who they played, but I remember watching them early in the season. All they were doing is just lumping it to Mitrovic and hoping for something, and it wasn't working. But now they have Cavallero there. They have obviously Lookman, who started most games.
Lookman looks all right to me.
Yeah, he's really kind of come on a bit after, he played at Everton, didn't really get a look in properly, but he's now improving a lot. But apart from that penalty, he's improving at Fulham, and Bobby Reed as well.
Bobby Cordova-Reid.
So that front three, although they're not the most prolific, they're definitely hard-working. They're all quick players. They definitely all put in a shift for the team. And I think that's what they've been missing when Mitrovic is on the pitch. He doesn't really have that intensity in pressing the defenders and making sure it's not easy for them to play football. That's their main role. It's not that like they don't get that many goals and assists, but they just help the team out, which Mitrovic wasn't really doing as well. So that's why they've improved. Loftus-Cheek's on loan there, but hasn't had the best of times, I feel like, when he's played. Mario Lemina as well. I was a big fan of him at Southampton, but he hasn't quite made it.
He's kind of fallen off a cliff since he's left Southampton, because I thought he was really good at Southampton, and a lot of people were touting him to go to a bigger club than Southampton after he left there.
I remember. But he moved to Galatasaray instead. He moved there, and then he's kind of hasn't really regained his form, because I thought he was quite good at Southampton, Mario Lemina, obviously former Juventus player as well. So there are a few players obviously to watch out for. I think as a team, they're just a lot harder to break down now. They're conceding goals for fun at the beginning of the season. It's not that situation anymore. But obviously, if we approach this game in the right way, there's definitely goals in this for us.
Yeah, of course. And I think that we have to be on the front foot this game. There's no two ways about it.
They're going to come for a draw.
Yeah, they're going to come for a draw. They're going to sit back, try hit us on the counter-attack. So we got to be strong in defence like we always are, seeing as we've only conceded 3 or 4 from open plays.
They've only conceded 2 goals in their last 4 games.
Yeah, but we haven't conceded a goal in 2021 yet. The year ended 1, so it's nice and lucky for us. So look, I'm looking for us to really start the game fast, start the game on the front foot, and I think we got to look to win this game in the first half, seriously, because we've got to go 2-3-0 up first half, seal off that game in the second half. We have to look for 3 easy points in this game, and I don't want to see us kind of take our time, go in at the half-time break 0-0 and kind of looking for that goal or that win with 20 minutes, half an hour to go.
And it's very easy to fall into the trap of thinking, because Fulham only found out about this game in 48 hours ago and that they're complaining and everything, that it's going to be easy for us. It's not going to be easy. So many times these kind of things happen, like, oh, it's unfair, this team has a longer break than that team, but the team with a shorter break always ends up getting a result and stuff like that. Happens time after time in the Premier League.
Just look back to the beginning of the season when we were like, oh, how are we going to play 4 games in a week? Blah, blah, blah.
And the last game was at Old Trafford.
And we won them all. We won 6-1 at Old Trafford.
Yeah. And that was the last game of that 4-game week. And we're like, oh, how are we going to cope with it? And it's fine. So it's important not to fall into that trap and think this is going to be a gimme win, because it's not. They're a Premier League team. Even though they played 120 minutes on the weekend, it doesn't matter. They're going to be well up for this. They're even that sense of injustice could even strive them forward, could even bring them together a bit, if you know what I mean.
That siege mentality that Jose likes to bring.
Exactly. So I think Jose just needs to make sure that when he gives his team talk or in the the day training before the game, get it into the players that you can't take this game for granted whatsoever. There's 3 points and no excuses for this one.
I think if we defend like we have been pretty much all season from open play, I really do believe that we win this game comfortably. I think there'll be goals in this for us. Obviously, Kane and Son on absolute firing form. I think Steven Bergwijn will probably finish off the top 3 on that right-hand side. So I think he can find a bit of joy in that right-hand side as well. And I think if Winksy starts in the middle, we can get the ball down on the deck and start passing it around and really stamp our authority on this game.
Yeah.
What score prediction are you going for?
I'm going to go 3-0.
3-0.
3-0.
I'm going to go 2-0.
2-0.
I'm going to go 2-0. Look, we have to win this game. There's just no 2 ways about it. We have to get 3 points in this game.
Yeah, no excuses.
No
it
excuses.
would be an awful result if we don't get a win in this game. That's just the nature of the league at the moment. So we need
that's not disrespecting Fulham at all.
Yeah.
That's not disrespecting Fulham at all, because when you look at Fulham's results, they went to the King Power, they beat Leicester, they've drawn against Liverpool this season, they've had some good results this season, away from home as well, as opposed to home. So it's not going to be the easiest game, but like I said, it has to be 3 points today. Tomorrow. No, I'm not having anything else.
Especially how the league table is, to keep pace with the other teams at the top, we just have to be getting the points on the board. And the Fulham game was always a good opportunity, and it'll be again.
All right, so that is our match preview for the Tottenham-Fulham game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium tomorrow night, 8:15 kickoff. Come and join our live watch-along, going live from 8 o'clock tomorrow evening. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs!